go ahead and get started even if no one's here. I have no idea. Oh, there we go. So I guess it is going up. If you noticed, I got a treatment now on this side, and I look like I'm sunburned again. But at any rate, things are progressing. So if you can I guess this is the time that I probably ought to put on a little powder or something so I don't look so red, right? But I thought I better come on anyway. And no, I don't care for powdering my face. No thanks. As usual, let's see if everything's 5 by 5. I didn't notify any of my mods tonight uh, because I'm not really gonna say a whole lot. Probably that they'll need to worry about. I know that if I get the trolls on here, that'll be a problem. I'm 5 by 5. Thanks, we the people. But we'll just see how it goes. I just wanted to go ahead and put it up. You know how it is. I get an inclination and I try to put it off, and then I decide, okay, go ahead and do it. So here we are, and again, for those of you who don't understand, no, I didn't get in a fight. No, I didn't fall down. It's some treatment to take care of some pre-cancer and some skin cancer that I have over me because of an exposure I had many years ago, and I have to do this about every 5 or 6 years. So that's where we are. Okay, what was that about orange? Trump might loan you some powder. I like some good humor. Thank you very much. I am partaking in a little bit of scotch tonight. I was thinking a lot about Bettina today. Again, Bettina, that you would know, recollect as Nancy Morgan Hart of Headlines with a Voice. Um, it was about, oh, I don't know, probably about this time last year or so that she and I were talking on the phone, and I said, I'd like to try another type of scotch. What do you like? And she says, well, we just went and got this thing called the Balvenie Caribbean Cask 14 year. And there it is. All right. And so I've had this, wow, for that long a time. So I thought I'd pull it out. And since I was thinking about her today, and have a little bit of this. What it is, it's basically a space side. Uh, if I'm correct, I think it's a space side, and they put it in rum casks, Caribbean rum casks. Actually, it's pretty good. It's not bad at all. So anyway, here's the Bettina, and to all those who really enjoyed her show, and I want to thank Felicia Lockhart again for taking the banner up on that and keeping that channel going. It's been a blessing that she'll do that. So here's to both of them. All right. Well, I'm risking getting thrown off of here with this title. Become cyborgs or starve. That's where we are. I do have to let you know that Roosevelt, who is constantly doing research, let me know that, remember, Biden said that he was going to make it so that any company with 100 employees or more would have to, of course, take the new procedure, right? Which is the old procedure, which is going to be the new procedure, and the new procedure again, the new procedure again, and the new procedure again. Well, apparently, in the remember, Biden was talking about going to the Department of Labor and OSHA and getting them to do that. Well, apparently, it's still not there. What is there is a requirement for those who have federal contracts that their companies have it. Now, don't kid yourselves. Just because it hasn't filtered out everywhere else doesn't mean that it won't. But they're trying to keep, like everything else the government does when it wants to be evil. It's all incremental. Oh, they're going after them. I don't have to worry about it. Oh, they're going after that group. I don't have to worry about it, right? And then of course they come after you. So it's all incremental. It's a military tactic, as I explained some weeks ago when I was talking about objectives and intermediate objectives, uh, you don't storm the final objective right up front normally. You take intermediate objectives first to soften the target and get it ready and to make sure that they don't have any reinforcements, can't do any supporting fire, etc. Supporting fires, all of that. And that's what they're doing. They're just separating us out and taking us out uh, one group at a time. All the nurses, of course, that were considered nurses and first responders and doctors, etc., they're considered such heroes a year ago, are now not, unless, of course, they partake in the ritual. And those who don't are are given like this is an emergency, right? Uh, Not that you have to do it now, but we want to see you comply within whatever it is 2 days, 30 days, 30 days, 3 weeks, whatever, whatever you give them, because compliance is what they're after. It's not about concern for anybody's well being. Well, you already knew that one of my daughters had been accosted over this, and now she's basically been given, I think it's till the end of this week to get this done. And if she doesn't, then she's either going to be placed on medical leave, which would be their way of preventing a suit, uh, or they'll outright fire her. But I think they'll probably do a medical leave so that she'll just kind of be in limbo. It's a real horrible way to punish somebody for not going along with the system, and especially in her situation, she does have a medical problem where she should not receive this thing, but they're mandating it anyway. So I've sent her a lot of information. She's forwarded it, but of course they don't care. And that's the thing. So this isn't about health and well being. This is about something else entirely different. And from the title of this video, you should probably figure out what that is, right? So, at any rate, that's proceeding further against her. And I also now have other family members. I think we're up to 5 now who have been given ultimatums. So, and some have already gotten it, as I explained before. So this is being rolled out. If you think you're safe, even if you're in a rural area, if you have any ties to any kind of corporation, you're probably gonna. I mean, they're telling people that have to do it even if they're working on Skype or Zoom or something like that. This is crazy. Yeah, and that's the other thing. And you're absolutely right, Spank Themosky. Absolutely, yeah. That's all tied. The whole thing is an attack on mankind, as I've long talked about. So here we are. Heroes a year ago are now domestic terrorists today. Uh, I've been saying that's what's going to happen for 3 decades, almost 4. So no one is out there. Amazingly, President Trump, former President Trump, he gets upset at Governor Abbott of Texas for not getting behind the election fraud investigations. That's his concern. Never mind this other thing that's enslaving the whole world that he started. And I know a lot of Trumpists don't want to hear that, but it's just a fact. As a matter of fact, I saw some, I won't mention any names, but I saw a couple of posters on Twitter today that I followed for a very long time. They're retired officers, military officers. And one of them said, well, if Trump realizes his mistakes, I'll support him. I'll support him. I felt like writing back and saying, you just don't get it even now, do you? Those were not mistakes. And if you as a military officer, and I really love these guys, I really do, but I just wonder sometimes, as a military officer, if you really think that a guy who's going to be a commander in chief has to be given, a learning curve that's 4 years long or 8 or whatever, come on, guys, come on. Now, what is the alternative? The alternative is we've got to get our states up and running where we can. It's probably already too late, but that's really where our best bet is having states that will stand up and stand together. Anything smaller than that's going to get crushed. Okay? In which case, we're just going to have to try to fend for ourselves with our friends and family, etc. So that's kind of where things are there. What was that? Yeah. Fauci started this one. Yeah, oh, that's true. Oh, I know. But don't excuse Trump. Come on now. All right? Fauci's been doing this for a lot longer than when Obama was in the White House. He's been at this since the 80s. All right? So don't make excuses for Trumpist. Okay? Don't. Because you'll just be hurting yourself and you'll be setting yourself up for a big fall, which we've already taken once. You want to do it again? What is that saying? Insanity is doing the same thing, even though you know you're going to get the same results. Ta da! Okay. So, anyway, that's where that is. And as I've intimated for a long time, and I think that now it's pretty obvious that this particular procedure is, as I've called it out for a very long time, that this is the key to the access to the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies, etc., etc. Schwab is serious when he says he wants us to no longer be human, wants the image of something else inside of us and remove the image of God in us. It's pretty obvious. And I've been saying that for a long time. And here we are. So um, I'm just publicly saying I ain't doing it. There's no way. I was hoping my family would all feel the same way. But this is an individual thing, and so we just have to take it individually. Even the scriptures say, this period of time will be when father turns against son, son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, neighbor against neighbor, etc., etc. And boy, they found the exactly the. This is better division than racial, uh, or anything political or anything else. This is it. This is it. So here we are, and it definitely has something to do with the image of the beast and with the mark, even though that's a point of contention with a lot of people. And I won't mention any names there either. But again, as I've explained, it's not so much the actual thing as it is the system, and I'll just leave it there for this particular live stream tonight. However, I also want to bring up that you notice that the Biden administration has now said, I didn't think well, actually, I said they may go this far. I was hoping they wouldn't, but apparently they are, that they're considering dishonorable discharges and courts martial for those who do not accept the procedure. And that's, again, telling you where our military is and where it's going. So, 2 months ago now, I put out that video where I said that the military was telling their people to get their houses in order, and we can see it all across the line now. I don't know how many officers are going to go along with this, but certainly the ones that were concerned about what's coming down the pike and said to get their houses in order, I suspect that they're going to be willing to either resign their commissions. They'll probably resign their commission rather than get court-martialed or dishonorably discharged. An officer can just quit, resign his commission, and he's out. And that's probably what's going to happen. That's already happened with at least one Army lieutenant colonel that I know of, and there'll probably be some more amongst that group. And of course, because of that, they knew 2 months ago that this was coming, and they'd have to get their houses in order. Plus, we have all the shortages going on everywhere. I'm getting that information all the time. Hopefully, you all are keeping track of it so that you know. Okay, and with that, the supply chain breakdowns, just everything that's going on as far as shutting our actually shutting the world down and forcing you to go into their particular little system. So it's all happening, and I don't have any words of comfort for you. There aren't any right now, other than you have to stand up and do the right thing. You have to be righteous. You have to love. You have to do the right thing. You have to love your fellow man, not your enemy that's trying to kill you. you know, and I don't want to get into that religious discussion, but if somebody tries to harm you, you better defend yourselves. And you're not going to do it loving them. You're going to be angry as hell, and rightly so. And then, of course, standing with God and at least trying to understand what He wants for you and what He would like you to do. Make sure that, and I'm not going to tell you what that is, that's different for every particular person. Government is the enemy. Yeah, actually, Bettina used to say government is slavery, and so is Legal Man. She actually got that from Legal Man, and I have a lot of respect for Legal Man. He doesn't pull any punches. He's been right down the line. He's on Twitter, by the way, at Legal Man. Talks about different things. He has a podcast and some other thing. Or I guess it's kind of like a podcast. But anyway, okay. So that's where we are, and that's what's happening. The military is being purged, which has been going on for a long time. As you know, I haven't trusted any of the flag officers. I'm not saying that every single one of them is bad, but the majority of them are. There are a few that are still standing out, but they're not many. Field grade ranks have been good in the past. 05, 04, 06 is they're vying for that star. They want to be the 07. So starting at the 06 area, you start getting some difficulties. Uh, that used to be the case. Now you're starting to get difficulties at the 05 level. We saw that with Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and his supposed testimony against Trump during the hearings on the Russia deal. So and here he was out there going after his commander in chief. He didn't get in trouble. Mark Milley's not getting in trouble, but Lieutenant Colonel Schiller, the Marine who said that our military leadership is incompetent and needs to be held to account, boy, they've thrown the book at him. I don't know where he is right now, but I'm sure it's not good. So this isn't a whole lot of information tonight. Roy, what order do you think things will go down next? Well, they're really, it's hard to say. I don't have, there are people out there who say that they've read all of their battle plans and all that, and I have no doubt that they probably have. But those things are fluid, and that's the part that you've got to understand in war. Things get fluid. Sometimes when you have this objective that you want to get, you have to hold off and go after this one first because it's popped up. So those things are happening. So what's going to happen next? Uh, they're definitely pushing for the procedure. That's the deal because that's how they're going to control the entire world. I mean, I heard the statistic just the other day. I think like half the world's population has now had the procedure, at least one. And we all know, if you're paying attention, I don't want to get into this here, but you should know about it already. There is no, how can I say this? There is no mass illness of those who have not received the procedure. Because what they've done is they don't count you as having the procedure until 14 days after the dose, so the 15th day. So if you get sick 2-3 days afterwards, you're considered that you haven't had the procedure. Well, that's why Biden can say that they're having a pandemic of those who have not had the procedure, because it's the way they define it, which is, by the way, what they do. And I told you about terrorism, how that would be changed over the decades. When I first went to the Army Terrorism Counteraction course back in 1988, I was one of the first ones to go through it. I saw what they were doing with the definitions, and I've explained that before. About any American could be considered a terrorist under the definitions that they were putting out there. Thus, they could call anybody a terrorist and just say that, and people will just figure that that's the case and not realize that their definitions have nothing at all to do with real terrorism. And now, those things have progressed to where that definition, those ideas have expanded to the point where now, if you don't want to get a particular procedure, you're considered at the very least an extremist and either a possible terrorist or an actual one. Okay, or with all of the different takeovers of the Capitol in D.C. by different groups over the years, that's part of civil disobedience and redress of grievance. Interestingly, this one was called an insurrection, and most of you, as you should have by now, the FBI was required. The Department of Justice was lost their bid. Thank goodness that they could not hide the videos, and a few have come out. And anybody who looks at those can obviously see that this is not an insurrection that happened on January 6th. But just me saying that makes me a domestic terrorist. I've been considered one for a long time, so it really doesn't bother my feelings at all. So government changes definition. You notice they changed the definition of what a VAXX is, right? What it was scientifically. They say 5, 10 years ago. Then they changed it about 2 years ago, and now they've changed it again to fit the situation rather than the science. This is a religion. This is not science. Science is skepticism, not belief and faith. Okay. Uh, yeah, we're not going to get into the Messiah business tonight and all that. That's okay. As you can tell, I'm not really up tonight. uh, it's been a rough couple of days on a number of fronts, and so I didn't really want to come on here and take a whole lot of time tonight. I did want to bring up. Yeah, that's right. Who was that? Sally, how you doing? Sally Rickerson. Yeah, the fourth industrial revolution is the new model, and transhumanism is real, and it is here. You're right. That's why I labeled this video that I did. Okay, because that's exactly where. And if we aren't willingly going there, if we aren't throwing ourselves at it, they're going to come after us. They'll either force it on you in one way or another in these different summer retreats. Read between the lines. Um, Getting you in there, or forcing it on your job, or threatening your family, or in the end killing you, because they can't have you out there uh, uh, roaming free on the range. They can't have that. David Knight covers this stuff really good on his morning program. He's done an excellent job. So go to davidknight.com and go ahead and sign up there and listen to as much as you can of his presentation in the mornings, Monday through Friday. If you can't, for some reason, he does put up a time code so that you can look down through the list of topics and select the one that you're most interested in and follow that. I think he's excellent, and I always have. He and I met at Bundy Ranch, as most of you who have followed me know that, and we've stayed in somewhat. We're not best friends and that kind of thing. It's not like we're next door neighbors and best friends and all that, but we keep in touch, and it's. Oh, thank you, Felicia. I appreciate that. And so that's kind of what uh, David does. Is he has a lot of integrity, and I just think it's a good idea if you watch him. Now, there's another thing I might mention before I go. Let's see what's this. Call to arms. Look up Russell J. Gold. Any military, retired military, or war Castle's video now. Be real careful getting on things like that, okay? Um, there are some things I could say, I won't. I would just say that it's best not to discuss that here, okay? Best not to discuss that here. Glenn Beck did an interview with a guy I'd never heard before. Um, Now I forget his name. It was last week, and it was about his situation with trying to get people out of Afghanistan and how the Biden State Department tried to stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans they're not last on the list. They're not even on the list. In other words, what's the list of priorities of the government? And this was true under Trump as well. And I'm not going to argue that, but it depends on the circumstances. I can put up red flag laws. I can put up this whole thing that we're in now. I can put up Las Vegas, whatever. But what I will say is this: Americans, when you consider everything that our government does, they just sent another, or voted to send another, I don't know, several $billion to Israel, right? So everybody matters but the American people. And people will say we're last. The Americans are last on the list. No, they don't even put us on the list anymore. We're persona non grata. We're just not even there. Okay, that's the way it is. And Governor Abbott, as I mentioned earlier, Trump's upset at him for not getting more involved in this election thing. Trump's not even mentioning the problem with the procedures, right? The jabber procedures. Not even mentioning that. He's still concerned about Abbott following through on this other thing. I'm not saying it isn't important, but if Deagle.com is right, and if you don't know what that is, go look it up. Somebody maybe put up a link here. I don't even know if there are any links anymore to that. I think they took it all down. And the projections that have been made by other New World Order affiliates, there might be a 2022 election, but I don't think that there will be one in 2024 in any way, shape, or form. I suspect that the population in the United States is going to be forcefully disinterested, uh, starting here real quick. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing it. All right. Well, let me go ahead and take a few questions here. I guess I might as well, huh? Yeah, I've seen that too. Fox Mulder talking about changing your DNA that then you belong to them. That's questionable. They were talking, and that's actually the end result. That's really what they want. That's why this whole cyborg thing is happening. But it's not going to be quite that clean as the way I guess I'll have to say it right now. Yeah, no fly lists. Yeah, of course. It's the breakup of the U.S. And I've called that. I told you that they were going to balkanize us. I've been saying that now for at least 2 years. That's where they're taking us. Balkanization, which is the description of what happened to Yugoslavia, the balkanization of Yugoslavia into all those different countries: Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, etc., etc. That's what they're going to do to the U.S. And we're well on our way at this point right now, and the UN is ready to step in. I'm not saying they're coming tomorrow, but with this thing with the military, our military, you can see. Remember, I said you can't trust our military, and people got up all upset at me about that. Oh no, they're the country boys. They're not going to pull the trigger. I told you they were going to change it, didn't I? They were going to get the CRTs and the soy boys in there. The well, all these changes that are being made, where these people have no respect for Americans or their rights or the Bill of Rights or any of that. And if they hadn't been able to do that, well, they've still got the UN and these other things. But the military is now moving very quickly to the point where um, what they did in Katrina, during Katrina in New Orleans, is going to look like a cakewalk. All right. That's how you see what they're doing in Australia. Right. Exactly. Truth is freedom. Yeah. And they've been very good at either bribing government officials or grooming them for the last several decades so that they wouldn't fight back. I mean, even Rand Paul keeps his pie hole shut. He doesn't really talk about this whole medical problem, and he's certainly not talking about anything to do with the World Economic Forum and what's happening to nations around the world. Now, if you're a biblical reader, if you believe in those things, all nations are supposed to come to an end. But you always think God's going to do it in a way that he is in the front line fighting them, and they're falling like flies and all that. But usually, like we're seeing here now, the way it's going to come about is evil is allowed to take over, and they will destroy it. That's how it's happening. That's how it's happening. Does that make sense? Did I say that so people could understand what I mean by that? I don't even know that it's a precursor, Gacy. I've already explained why I look at it that way because it talks about you have to understand the original languages first of all and what they meant by that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a tattoo in the forehead or the hand. That's really not what it means. It really doesn't. But that's okay. The point is that it's the system, and the system has got us where they want us. Okay. A lot of people are standing up against it, but unless they can organize and support each other in a very big way, best um, best underneath a competent state authority like a governor, that would be the best way. But I don't know. Roy doesn't know anything about the secret space program. Orion, uh, I wasn't involved in that. I mean, I don't know what you know about it. Apparently, you think you know something about it, so maybe you could start on your channel and explain what it is. I know enough about it just from regular study, regular reading, that they're on. I know that, okay? But I'm not even going to go there. Sometimes you shouldn't make statements like that, okay, Orion? You've been around a long time. You should know me a little better than that. Of course, I don't know. Maybe you're addressing somebody else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go see they live. Yeah. Yeah, well, that may be true. Well, there's no doubt that I've talked about it when the Spirit of God, I'm going to call it that, the Spirit of God finally is poured out upon all the people, and they realize what these criminals, these evil, and I'm going to call them evil. I know some people don't like that term, but these evil people that have done this thing, they're not going to be able to hide. And all those that help them out, the police, the governors, the politicians, they're all going to be hunted down like dogs. Okay, actually, dogs is probably giving them too much. That's an embarrassment to the dogs. That's an insult to the dogs. But that's how it's going to happen, and that's basically what it says. And that's in there whether or not they use it as their playbook or ours. So I think they know their time is short. I think they know that. I don't think they think they're going to win this, but they want to take as many of us down as they can. That's my Terry Fisher. Yes. Is Trump promoting it because he's part of the evil? Absolutely, 100%. He was involved in this thing at least as early as 2017. It wasn't sprung on him like Fauci tried to pretend it was a surprise thing. He knew it was coming. And he had other contacts in other ways with this thing, even probably way earlier than that. Okay? Way earlier than that. Okay. Yeah, of course, Tamara. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's happening everywhere. It has nothing to do with protecting people's health. That's not what it's about. Okay, none of that is. You knew it was the snow when you took me in. That's a good one. Yeah, come out of her. That's the big thing that I've been saying. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Uh, Holy means separate away from it as much as you can, as far as you can separate economically, geographically, socially, even with the communications and all. The further you can separate from it, the better. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Don't take hydroxychloroquine. What? Who said that? You just trying to make me say it? Well, first of all, that's not how you spell it, Hemleif. But no, I don't agree with that at all. Okay, I don't agree with that one. Maybe you're just trying to say it so that they won't take you off here. That might be a sly way of saying it. Yeah, that's probably good. What was that? It says I don't know about that. I'm not going to get into that discussion. Blue sky, not tonight. There's actually some other things that indicate quite the opposite. All right. Okay, that's all I got for you. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you in a couple days. If something really important comes up, I'll probably come back on. Okay. Hopefully, this will be at least pale by then. It's not going to be bright red. And they cut these things off and then burn them. And yeah, boy, talk about, yeah, I didn't cry, but my eyes sure watered up. All right. Okay. And cheers to all you here. Felicia, thanks for coming. And I'm having a little bit of scotch here. Here's to you and Bettina, and actually to all of you. Okay. Out here.